All right, so September 1st, George and I here ready to go. Welcome, of course. Introduction for those of you who haven't joined us for one of these. My name is Kelly DeLucia. I am the lead listing agent for Welch team, Keller Williams, and George is also here with me. George.
I'm George Bodenkolm. I am the buyer's agent side of Kelly.
Interesting. George runs the buy side of our team. Okay, quick market update. Felt it would be helpful to give you guys a year-over-year comparison as to where we were last year from where we are this year. Same time of year, August 2020 versus August 2021. You can see the tremendous price growth. I think everybody has felt it. Everybody knows. Everyone's been hearing about it. But that's a large number. You know, the average price of homes sold in North Florida last year, this time was 317. We're up to 386. I mean, that's a massive amount of equity. If you bought your house last year, this time, you potentially could sell it and make money in a year, which is crazy. And that's weird. I mean, nuts. Average days on market last year, 33, which is still really fast. I mean, George and I have been doing this for a little bit of over 11 years and, 33 days would have been unheard of at any other point. And now we're down to an average days on market of 16. That doesn't mean that every home is going to sell in 16 days, but that just means that those homes that are still in that affordable price point around that 300,000, 350,000 mark, they are still moving quickly. And then inventory levels, active listings, check it out. We've talked about it a lot over the last 18 months. We're down, 2,887 listings compared to 3,300 last year, same time, which was really low too. So our trends have continued, which is really what I wanted to focus on for our chat today was the continuing trend of, what's going on out there and why. So news article came out yesterday about Jacksonville and our growth. Jacksonville now looks like my little
I was gonna say we're number 2.
I know the numbers get cut off. I will say the graphics this week are a little bit rough. May have put this together quickly, but that is a 12. Jacksonville is the 12th largest city in the country right now, according to the census. And that's no surprise to us that live and breathe and work in this industry. And we've seen all the people coming into the city, people moving from other parts of the country and other parts of the state to take advantage of our affordable housing. But really, truly, this has been happening since pre-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
George can talk to the number of buyers that he's helped over the years. The people moving here, they didn't just start because of COVID. They've been steadily trending towards the state. Net migration into the state is greater than people moving out of the state.
Okay. And specifically North Florida, where we've seen so many people over the last 5 years want to find good affordable housing in a area where you're still close to the beaches, you're still close to river, you have quick access to airports. Obviously we have a football team here, not the best, but we have one, so there's a ton of opportunity here and continued growth. There's still a ton of land, a ton of development. We see it every single week. We drive by a certain area and there's something else, a new sign popping up because there's new infrastructure being added in throughout everything from the North Florida area that we talk about, covering from Palm Coast all the way up through Fernandina Beach.
Yep. Absolutely. And it's not going to stop anytime soon. So home prices. So what's interesting, so we try to keep a very local focus when we talk about what's happening in our marketplace. We hear things in the news all the time about, the average pricing here or, how quickly inventory is moving in other parts of the country. But really, we want to hone in on what's happening in North Florida and make sure that we're speaking very specifically about our market, because what you hear on the nightly news or what you read about online, just because it's the average doesn't mean that it's what's going to hold true for North Florida.
Right.
So keep that in mind as we go through these slides. These slides, again, not the best quality, but I took these from Gary Keller's presentation at Mega Camp last week at Keller Williams Mega Camp. And, you know, for those of you that don't know who Gary Keller is, he's the CEO of Keller Williams and has been a leader in the housing industry for a very long time. And there are some great economists that work within the company as well. So home prices, this is an interesting thing to share. So the yellow line is the long-term average of price increases going back to 1991. So you can see that the long-term average price increase is about 4%. Anytime those bars get over that 4%, you know, that's when we're starting to see, you know, some sort of disparity in pricing versus where it was and where it should be. So we can see that at 4%, 330,000 would have been what would have projected if we kept that 4%, you know, would have been the annual median home price. We're, you know, well over that at 341. That's the national average. We just looked at our North Florida stats and the average home sale price here is 387,000. So you can see how we're trending, you know, with these numbers, but nonetheless, home prices have continued to go up and they've continued to go up since 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So people ask, oh, is it going to be another 2007? No, we've been on a nice steady increase for a very long time. Mortgage rates still historically low. So, you know, everyone got a little weirded out a couple months ago when, you know, oh, they're going to go up. Mortgage rates are going to tick up. You know, mortgage rates need to go up because a higher mortgage rate will help even out the supply problems. If you go back to January of 2012, which is where this graph goes back to, you're still seeing mortgage rates under 4%, which was unheard of at the time. And then they got down to 3.35 later on that year. We're still so far below that. And projection wise, we might be at 3.5%, according to, you know, all the people that are smarter than me out there by the end of 2022. So if we were at, it's a long ways off. And George, you know this because, you know, if you talk to somebody about what can you buy at a 3.5% interest rate versus what you can buy at a 4.87% interest rate, which we were in that high point at November of 2018, this is still a ton of buying power that buyers have, even if we're not sub 3%.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's a huge, huge factor for people to consider. And we're not that far off. November 2018 was 3 years ago. I mean, how we've dropped. And that too, if you look at all the numbers, how they've continued to drop, even in non-pandemic type factors, but it has held, even with the amount of demand that we've had in homes for what we've seen with continued price increases, a continued request for refinances as well, because that's not even factored in here.
Yep.
Tons and tons of business going through lenders, and they have maintained. It spiked a little bit, as we all saw. It got up to about 3.2, but again, they are holding that down and it's not going to stay like that for very long. Or just take the next year after that. And when we say a year and 2 years, those are small in considerations to. In 5 years from now, we're probably seeing 3s and 4s and 5s back up in it in the standard interest rates.
And all that is going to do is, you know, help stabilize our housing market. It doesn't mean that it's going to flip the housing market, upend it, and we're going to see some major crash. And so to bring it back to the North Florida aspect, go back to the article that I just shared with you guys about Jacksonville would be now being the 12th largest city and continual growth over the last 20 years. We had housing supply issues in 2018 when interest rates were at 4.87. We have housing supply issues now. We have a lack of housing for moderate, you know, averaged priced homes. There's, you know, new communities on the horizon that we're definitely in need of because there are no $350,000 homes left for people to purchase, which is what we've been screaming, for months now. So again, even if things change across the national landscape, please keep in mind that we're talking locally here. What are we seeing? What's happening on a day-to-day basis? So home prices are rising, mortgage interest rates are still low, but consumer confidence is super low. Like you would think consumer confidence would be super high right now, but we have 70.2%. I think that's what that says. Consumer confidence, because guess what? What's everyone out there saying? Oh, can't wait for it to, I'm just going to wait. Everything's going to crash. Everything's going to fall apart. I won't list my home now, or I won't buy a home now because I'm going to wait till home prices come down.
And that's the thing, is like what I heard that today itself is that they just felt the pricing was just so high that they decided to take a break. That was 6 months ago. Pricing has continued to rise. It will probably continue to rise for another year. Even if we have any sort of a drop or a level off, we're probably talking from now, a year from now, it could be 40 to 50,000 more. And your interest rates will then continue to rise. So what you could afford now is not even close to what it's going to be a year from now. So, but some people, yes, they keep thinking, okay, we got all these, our next topic of forbearance, those are all going to come on the market, and then the market's going to crash. We can't have, the bubble's going to burst, whatever it is, interest rates are going to skyrocket. There's so many things that people just have an excuse for, that they feel our market's just going to go crazy.
Yep.
It's not going to happen right now.
Not going to happen right now. We're looking at North Florida. We have been fairly insulated from a lot of the shifts and changes that have happened, especially since 09, 10, 11. We've had more jobs moving into the city. We've always had a strong military population. We have a large financial sector. We have a large hospital base. And these are all industries that are, continue to grow. And just to bring it back to, mid 2020, when tourism was down in other parts of the state, because they rely a lot more heavily on tourism to drive their economy, that fortunately for North Florida hasn't always been the case. We're not considered a major tourist destination, although maybe that will change in the future. We certainly want to see progress and our city to continue to grow. So they're interesting to compare where consumer confidence is at versus what we know to be true. And our whole goal is to help educate everybody out there, to help you understand what's really happening, so that maybe you will feel more confident and you will make decisions that will have a great impact on your family based on the facts in our current marketplace and our current city. So some of the things that we're watching out for: mortgage forbearance ending, eviction moratorium has ended, and rental prices. So George, I want you to share a very recent story about one of your past customers.
Right. So I had someone reach out to me, and they just purchased a home 2019, and they had received a foreclosure notice this past week, and they were like, okay, hey, what do we do? Because they weren't in the position. Of course, looking into it, it's like, yeah, let's sit down and talk. Let's figure out what you want to do. If you want to sell your home, if you need to work on a loan modification, whatever it might be. But then when I pulled up, after we spoke, I, gave him some pointers and let him know, hey, what the next steps are. Because his biggest concern was that he was going to be, in 20 days, going to be kicked out of his house.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, here in Florida, we're in a judicial state, so it isn't that quick. You typically have at least a couple months, especially court systems aren't backed up right now, but typically at this point, you're going to have at least a few months before all that happens. And at the same time, the court's not going to just kick you out, especially if it's your primary residence. So there's lots of different things that we can help you with in that aspect. But when I looked into the paperwork that was filed, it was recorded this month, a week ago, but it was dated from April 2020. So when, of course, this is something Kelly and I probably spoke about several months ago in regards to all these forbearances that have been sitting out for 12, 18, 19 months now.
Yep.
Now that they're out of it, all of that, this past 18 months or whatever you have not paid, that's all due now.
Yeah.
And if you can't come up with it, then of course foreclosure proceedings will move forward from basically the past due date of when they filed it, which was April 2020. So we're talking about 15 months later. Now it's been recorded. And when I actually pulled up how many list pendants have been filed in our 3 counties, Duval County had over 111, St. John's like 20 plus, Clay I think was about 20 as well. So it's piling up. And of course there have been nothing filed since 8 March of 2020.
Yeah.
So these foreclosures are coming, and
well,
there's plenty that we know they're not coming. They're being filed.
The good news is,
Right.
so the good news is a lot of these. So if you, to summarize, like if you were behind on your mortgage payments and you took a forbearance for 12 to 18 months, if you didn't immediately start paying, then that list pendants is going to get issued to you for non-payment, you know, and it's probably going to be backdated to the last month that you paid, which is what happened in George's customer's situation. The great news though, is that foreclosure doesn't have to be the case for a lot of these homeowners. So I don't think that there's going to be a rush, right, of foreclosures hitting the market, because a lot of these homeowners have equity. If we go back to where the average home price was in 2020, just from 2020 to 2021. So even if you weren't making your mortgage payments for the last year, your house value still grew. Right. So we would encourage anybody who may be sitting in that situation and contemplating, what do I do now? Like, I've run out of time. I now need to start paying. I either will start paying, or maybe I can go and get a loan modification from my lender, or maybe I really do need to sell. I would, reach out to us. Let us help you get a market value on your property, because in all likelihood, you can sell your property, you can pay back your mortgage. You don't have to have a foreclosure on your record, and you might even have enough left over to take and put it into something else that fits the lifestyle that you need to live currently. And you can restructure your bills that way. So people do have a lot of options, but we know that is coming out there, that this is on the horizon, that we will start to see some more homes hit the market, because people realize that they might have to start making these tough decisions. But I don't think we're going to see a bunch of foreclosures and short sales.
Right. And honestly, even for the people that are in that situation, they don't have to be desperate, because a lot of people will say, oh, wow, they need to sell because they've got a deadline. Just from speaking from experience from that side of it, I used to work on the foreclosures management piece within my past life, and that the state of Florida will always grant extensions, especially in a situation where somebody is trying to sell and it's their primary residence. And not even going to see this house, I know they've got at least it's worth $100,000 more than what they purchased it for. Right. So they more than likely can pay off their loan, catch everything up, and probably have some left over to be able to put towards the next house. So
100%. Like, always partner with somebody who knows what they're doing in these situations. I started at a time where pretty much every listing I worked on was a foreclosure or a short sale. And there's a lot of experience you gain when you go through that process, and it's heartbreaking, but it doesn't have to be for a lot of the people that may be facing a list pendants or foreclosure notice being put on their property. So always, we're happy to walk you through. We have some great partners that can navigate that process with us to get you out right side up. Right. The other thing is eviction moratoriums have ended. So we are seeing investors who are able, and those could be mom and pop investors. The majority of rental properties in this country are owned by mom and pop people like me, like George, not institutional investors that have thousands around the country. These are people that have onesie twosie houses and they have tenants in them. Those may start hitting the market at a quicker rate now that they can evict tenants for non-payment. So those are some things that may change the landscape. I know that we have a lot of people in our marketplace that have come to us asking about their options as far as that goes. So we may see some inventory coming here just due to some of that. People think now's the time to sell. Prices are good. I need to move on from this property and get out now. And then rentals. Rental pricing is skyrocketing, and there still is not rental availability. So, some of those people who may have postponed their home search, said they were going to rent, they might be re-entering the home search market when they really analyze how much am I spending on a monthly rental versus where could I put that money? Where could I get some equity? Even though home prices are high, interest rates are still low, and Jacksonville is still growing. So even if you purchase now, you're still going to be building equity in the coming months and years. We had a few questions. How can a customer sell a home if inventory is so low and they need to purchase right after the sale? We work on this all the time. Simultaneous closing. So it can be tricky to line up a sale and a buy at the same time, but it's not impossible. There are a lot of options out there right now for sellers that we help facilitate in terms of iBuyers or instant buyers. Those are cash buyers that we can coordinate for you, get an instant cash offer, no showings, no hassle, little service fee involved there. But they have been selling properties at close to, or if not above, market value. People getting cash offers on their properties and coordinating little to no repairs, really netting a lot more than we've seen in the past, which allows you some flexibility on your purchase. Maybe you don't have to make your home purchase contingent upon that sale because you've already got a cash offer that is going to close, and you can pick that closing date. So even if you can go under contract on your current home and take 90 to 120 days in some cases to identify your new home.
We also
go ahead.
I was going to say, we also have the knock program, which is huge for those that need to be able to, that need to sell their home, but for the equity in order to purchase the next one. The knock program that our team is partnered up with, it does have that ability for you to be able to purchase your next home first, using that equity, but not really having it with you, and be able to, not have to have a contingent, your offer contingent upon sale of your home. And then you can actually close on your new home first, move everything in, and then sell your other one. So there's that's a phenomenal option in this market, and has been for the past year with what we're seeing.
Yep. And you can even do that cross marketplace. So the knock program works in other states and other cities. So if you want more information about something like that, we'd be certainly happy to work with you on that. But and then there's also the traditional listing. So we've done this for years. We've made this, we've certainly helped many buyers and sellers coordinate their moves. And each individual situation is different. And we would certainly like to analyze and consult with you based on what your specific needs are, but it can be done. And there are plenty of properties that are sold every day that are not listed on the MLS. So we have a list of properties that we know homeowners would love to sell. They're just not ready to put it on the market yet. So great question out there. And then we have another, when foreclosures are processed in the market, will this cause a shift in the housing market? No, I don't think that enough foreclosures will be registered because so many people have equity in their property that you're just going to see a little bit of inventory trickle in. All the statistics show that the foreclosures are really going to take place if people were behind prior to 2020. and then got, I don't want to say lucky, but they got a little bit of breathing room through 2020 and 2021 to kind of figure out what they needed to do and what their next steps would be. But there's so many people in our market with equity that it would be a much smarter move to consult with one of us to help you get the equity out of that property so that you're not staring down a foreclosure.
Right. And I feel like no matter how much information is out there, there sometimes is too much, and it can not be easy to navigate. And that's really where we were able to come in and help you understand not just the value of your home, the equity that you have, the process, and make it simple. At the end of the day, there's a lot of stressful factors that go into buying or selling, especially not even if you're in a distressed type situation, that, you know, having a good agent on your side is really what truly makes a difference of making it a pleasant experience versus a nightmare.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody can put a property on the market and anybody can open a door for you that has a real estate license. But there is no substitute for somebody who does this every single day and has the knowledge and experience to make it a seamless process. And that's what we're here for. You cannot replace the value of a lot of years and a lot of transactions under your belt. But everybody is different. Every transaction is different. And that's what we're here for, to help listen and guide each person through each situation and help you get to your goal. It's not really about the property. It's about taking care of the people throughout the process. And we would love to answer any other questions that you may have. You can always drop us a line. You can comment on this after the live is over. We'll get back to you with any other answers. We are, if you're an agent out there and you're listening to us and you think you might want to join our team, we are always looking for great agents to join us and learn from the best in the business, if I do say so myself. And 4765539, welchteam.com, at welchteam on pretty much every social outlet. It is September 1st, and this is our very late August update. Thank you so much for joining myself and George.
Yep.
We will see you, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks or so.
Maybe.
Okay, bye.
Bye.